Cape buffalo. In Africa, people assume lions or crocodiles hold the title for most human deaths, but they're wrong. The Cape buffalo kills more people on the continent than any other large animal, and it's earned nicknames like Black Death and the Widowmaker for a reason. This thing weighs up to 900 kilograms, stands 1.7 meters tall at the shoulder, and comes equipped with horns that curve outward and then back in, like biological hooks designed for goring. What makes it the deadliest in Africa isn't just size or weaponry, it's the temperament. Cape buffalo are infamous for holding grudges. If you wound one and don't finish it, that animal will circle back, wait in ambush, and charge you from behind. They're also protective of the herd to an extreme degree. If one member is threatened, the entire group can turn on you, and a stampede of several dozen buffalo is not something you survive. A single Cape buffalo can flip a car. A herd can flatten anything in its path. Unlike most prey animals that flee, the buffalo charges directly at threats, reaches speeds of up to 56 kilometers per hour, and doesn't stop until the threat is destroyed. Park rangers rank it as more dangerous than lions because lions are predictable. Buffalo aren't. The unpredictability is what makes it Africa's deadliest. It became the deadliest on the continent by being the most consistently aggressive large animal in regions where humans work, hunt, and live alongside wildlife. Funnel web spider. Australia is home to some truly horrifying creatures, but the Sydney funnel web spider has caused more deaths from venom in Australia than any other spider species. This spider lives in suburban gardens, under rocks, in garages, basically anywhere around Sydney where humans live. The venom is specifically lethal to primates, which includes us, and before antivenom was developed in 1981, bites were often fatal. The venom evolved to kill insects and small vertebrates, but it just happens to be catastrophically effective on primate nervous systems. Male spiders are the dangerous ones. During mating season, they wander into homes looking for females, and that's when most bites occur. They're aggressive when threatened, rear up on their hind legs, and strike repeatedly. The fangs are large enough to penetrate fingernails and soft shoes. Bite symptoms start within minutes. Muscle spasms, excessive salivation, tears streaming from the eyes, sweating, confusion, and without treatment, respiratory failure and death within an hour or two. Sydney is one of the most populated cities in Australia, which means millions of people live directly on top of funnel web spider habitat. You're not traveling deep into the outback to encounter this thing. It's in the suburbs. Since 1981, no one has died from a funnel web bite, but before that, it was the deadliest spider on the continent. It earned that title in Australia by evolving venom that's specifically deadly to humans and living in one of the country's most densely populated urban areas. Saltwater crocodile. Across Asia and northern Australia, the saltwater crocodile kills more people than any other predator, and it does this by being the largest living reptile and one of the most patient hunters on Earth. Males reach up to 6 meters in length and weigh over 1,000 kilograms. The bite force has been measured at 16,000 newtons, which is the strongest bite force of any animal ever tested. A human bite maxes out at around 700 newtons. This animal bites down with more than 20 times that force. What makes it Asia's deadliest is the hunting method. Saltwater crocodiles are ambush predators. They float just below the surface with only their eyes and nostrils visible, wait near riverbanks or shorelines where people fish or collect water, and explode out of the water in a single motion. The attack is over in seconds. Once it has you, it drags you underwater and initiates the death roll, spinning its entire body to disorient prey and drown it. The roll also tears limbs off. Saltwater crocodiles don't just live in remote swamps. They're found in rivers that run through villages, coastal areas near tourist beaches, and estuaries where people work. In countries like Indonesia, the Philippines, and parts of India, fatal attacks happen regularly because humans and crocodiles share the same water sources. The crocodile doesn't see a difference between a fish and a person. Both are prey. It became Asia's deadliest through sheer size, bite force, and occupying the exact waterways where human populations depend on rivers for survival and daily activities. Poison dart frog. In South America, the deadliest animal isn't a jaguar or an anaconda. It's a frog smaller than your thumb. The golden poison dart frog, found in the rainforests of Colombia, contains enough toxin in its skin to kill 10 adult humans. One frog, 10 deaths. The toxin is called batrachotoxin, and it works by interfering with nerve signal transmission, causing muscle paralysis, heart failure, and death. There's no antivenom. If you absorb enough of it through a cut or mucous membrane, you're dead within minutes. The frog doesn't produce the toxin itself. It gets it from its diet. In the wild, poison dart frogs eat specific species of ants and mites that contain the chemical precursors to batrachotoxin. The frog sequesters these compounds in its skin as a defense mechanism. In captivity, where they don't have access to those insects, poison dart frogs lose their toxicity entirely. Indigenous peoples in South America figured this out centuries ago and used the frogs to poison the tips of blow darts for hunting. They'd rub the dart tip across the frog's back, let it dry, and one dart could drop a monkey or a small deer in seconds. That's why they're called poison dart frogs. The bright coloration, usually yellow or orange, is a warning. In nature, bright colors on small animals mean don't touch this. It became South America's deadliest through extreme toxicity concentrated in a tiny package and habitat overlap with indigenous communities who recognized and weaponized that lethality for survival. Box jellyfish. The box jellyfish kills more people in the Indo-Pacific region than sharks, saltwater crocodiles, and stonefish combined. And it does this while being nearly invisible in the water. The body is transparent. The tentacles can extend up to 3 meters, and each tentacle is lined with thousands of specialized cells called nematocysts that inject venom on contact. The venom attacks 3 systems simultaneously: the heart, the nervous system, and the skin cells. Victims go into cardiac arrest, experience complete nervous system failure, and suffer extreme pain from skin necrosis all at once. Death can occur within 2 to 5 minutes of severe stings. That's faster than most people can get out of the water and call for help. Box jellyfish are found in shallow coastal waters where people swim, especially in northern Australia, Thailand, the Philippines, and Malaysia. They're most common during the wet season, but they're present year-round in some areas. You can't see them until you're already in contact with the tentacles. Survivors describe the pain as being branded with a hot iron. The venom is so potent that even minor stings require hospital treatment. Lifeguards in Australia carry vinegar on beaches because it deactivates unfired nematocysts still on the skin. Without it, the tentacles keep firing venom even after the jellyfish is gone. It became the deadliest in the Indo-Pacific through extreme venom potency, near invisibility, and thriving in exactly the shallow tropical waters where millions of people swim every year. Hippo. In Africa, if you're measuring deadliest by sheer number of annual human fatalities from direct attacks, the hippopotamus kills more people than lions, leopards, and even Cape buffalo in certain regions, particularly around rivers and lakes. This animal weighs up to 4,000 kilograms, runs at speeds of up to 30 kilometers per hour on land, and has canine teeth that grow up to 50 centimeters long. Those teeth aren't for eating. Hippos are herbivores. The teeth are weapons. What makes it one of Africa's deadliest is territorial aggression. Hippos are extremely protective of their river territory and the path between water and grazing areas. If you're in a boat and drift too close, the hippo will capsize it. If you're on foot and block its path to water, it charges. And when a hippo charges, it doesn't stop. The bite force is strong enough to snap a canoe in half or crush a human skull. Fatal attacks happen regularly in countries like Tanzania, Mozambique, and Uganda, where people fish in hippo territory or cross paths with them during evening grazing. Hippos kill more people in Africa than any other large animal in areas where their habitat overlaps with human activity around freshwater sources. The deaths aren't from predation, they're from territorial defense. The hippo isn't trying to eat you, it's trying to eliminate a threat. It became one of Africa's deadliest by combining massive size, surprising speed, extreme territoriality, and living in the rivers and lakes that African communities depend on for water and fish. By the way, if you're enjoying learning about these creatures, I post content like this regularly. I'd appreciate if you subscribed. Thanks. Polar bear. In the Arctic regions of North America, the polar bear holds the title as the deadliest predator, and it's one of the few animals on Earth that actively hunts humans as prey. Most large predators avoid people. Polar bears don't. They're the largest land carnivore, with males weighing up to 700 kilograms and standing 3 meters tall on their hind legs. They can smell a seal from 32 kilometers away, detect prey beneath a meter of ice, and swim for days without rest. When food is scarce, which is increasingly common due to climate change and melting sea ice, polar bears move closer to human communities in northern Canada, Alaska, Greenland, and Russia. Attacks have increased in the past 2 decades, and the pattern is consistent. The bear approaches, stalks, and kills with intent to eat. This isn't defensive behavior. This is predation. A polar bear can decapitate a human with a single swipe. The paw alone weighs around 30 kilograms and comes equipped with claws up to 10 centimeters long. Rangers in Arctic research stations carry firearms specifically for polar bears, and communities have early warning systems because once a bear decides to enter a town, stopping it is extremely difficult. It became the deadliest in North America's Arctic, not because of venom or disease, but because it sees humans the same way it sees seals, as food. And climate change is forcing more frequent contact between bears and people as traditional hunting grounds disappear. Common viper. In Europe, the common European viper is responsible for more venomous bites and deaths than any other snake on the continent. This snake is found across most of Europe, from Scandinavia down to the Mediterranean, and it thrives in forests, grasslands, moorlands, and rocky hillsides. The venom isn't as potent as tropical species, but it's still dangerous, especially to children, the elderly, and people with underlying health conditions. Bites cause severe pain, swelling, nausea, and in rare cases, tissue necrosis and cardiovascular collapse if untreated. What makes it Europe's deadliest snake is distribution and encounter rate. The common viper lives in areas where people hike, camp, forage for mushrooms, and work outdoors. Most bites happen when someone steps on or near the snake without seeing it. The viper's first response is to flee, but if cornered or surprised, it strikes defensively. These snakes are active during the day in cooler months and during early morning and late evening in summer. That overlaps perfectly with when people are most active outdoors. Before modern antivenom, viper bites had a much higher fatality rate. Now, deaths are rare but still occur, particularly in rural areas where medical treatment isn't immediately accessible. It became Europe's deadliest snake by being widespread across nearly the entire continent, adaptable to multiple habitats, and living in the exact outdoor environments where millions of Europeans spend time every year. Leopard seal. Antarctica's deadliest animal to humans isn't a theoretical threat. It's the leopard seal. And it earned that title by being the only animal on the continent that has killed a person. This thing reaches up to 3.5 meters in length, weighs up to 500 kilograms, and has a reptilian-looking head with jaws full of interlocking teeth designed to tear flesh. When it hunts penguins, it grabs them underwater, swims to the surface, and thrashes the bird back and forth until the skin literally peels away from the body. Then it eats what's left. In 2003, a British marine biologist named Kirsty Brown was killed by a leopard seal while snorkeling near a research station on the Antarctic Peninsula. The seal dragged her underwater to a depth of 70 meters and held her there for 6 minutes until she drowned. When her body was recovered, she had 45 separate injuries, most concentrated around her head and neck. It was the first and only recorded human fatality from a leopard seal. Scientists working in Antarctic waters follow strict protocols now. If a leopard seal is in the water, researchers don't enter. If one approaches while they're already in the water, they exit immediately. These animals are curious, intelligent, and powerful enough to pull a human under without effort. Nobody fully understands why the seal attacked that day. Some researchers think it mistook her for a fur seal, others believe it was territorial aggression. It became Antarctica's deadliest to humans by being the only animal on the continent that has directly killed a person in the water, demonstrating both the capability and the willingness to do so. Saw-scaled viper. In parts of Asia, particularly across the Middle East, India, and surrounding regions, the saw-scaled viper kills more people than any other snake and is responsible for the majority of snakebite deaths in its range. This snake is small, usually under 60 centimeters long, but it's extremely aggressive and has highly toxic venom that causes massive internal bleeding. The venom destroys blood cells, damages tissue, and prevents clotting, leading to hemorrhaging from the eyes, gums, and internal organs. Without antivenom, the mortality rate is high, and even with treatment, recovery can take weeks. What makes it so deadly in Asia is behavior and habitat. Saw-scaled vipers are nocturnal and lie coiled in sandy or rocky areas during the day, which means people step on them without seeing them. When threatened, the snake coils into a C shape and rubs its scales together to produce a loud hissing sound as a warning. If you don't back off, it strikes fast and repeatedly. The fangs are short but effective, and the venom acts quickly. In rural agricultural areas across India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, where people work barefoot or in sandals, bites are common. The snake thrives near human settlements because rodents, its primary prey, are abundant around farms and villages. It became one of Asia's deadliest by combining potent hemorrhagic venom, aggressive defensive behavior, small size that makes it easy to overlook, and living in densely populated rural regions where access to medical care is limited. The annual death toll from this snake alone exceeds 5,000 people. If this sparked your curiosity, consider subscribing so you don't miss future animal content. Thanks for watching.